Listen closely. I want to speak directly to you, chosen one. What I'm about to share is not a message for the masses, but for those with ears to hear those who have been set apart. You see, the message you're about to receive was carefully crafted and delivered at the precise moment God intended for you. Not a second too soon, not a moment too late, it came exactly when you needed it. And if you're hearing these words now, it's because you are exactly where you're meant to be on your spiritual journey. There's no coincidence in this moment. If you're still listening to my voice, if something deep inside your spirit is stirring, then I need you to understand this: the timing is divinely perfect. God's hand is on this, on you, and on everything you've gone through to bring you to this place. It may not feel like it always, but you are right where He wants you. And He sees what you're doing, how you're living, and the challenges you're facing. If you've felt like the world's weight is pressing on you in ways others may not understand, this message is for you. If you've found yourself in seasons where others can't see the depth of your struggle, or when your strength feels like it's barely holding on, know this: it's all been part of a divine design. You have been tested, chosen one. You've been through more than most, and yet you're still here. Your resilience is exactly what God has been waiting for. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think you're still standing even when everything seemed to be falling apart? It's not just that you have a strong will. It's not simply your own power. You see, what you've endured has been ordained by God. In the spiritual realm, your journey is already marked. And this is where the story begins to shift. Heaven took notice of you before you ever knew. Your endurance, your faith, your willingness to keep walking, even when it felt like the path was meant to break you. God saw it all. He saw every tear, every moment you wanted to give up, and every time you chose to get back up. And that's why you're hearing this now. You chosen one have a divine purpose in all of this. I want you to pause for a moment and truly absorb that. You've made it this far because God has been guiding you every step of the way. This message reached you not by chance, but because there's something far greater at work in your life than what meets the eye. And even though you may not see it all yet, I assure you what is coming next is already aligning. Music. Before we continue, I want you to take a deep breath. Allow the weight of this moment to settle in. You are here for a reason. And whether it feels like it or not, you are in the right place. So before we dive deeper into what this season means for you, I ask you to pause for a second if you haven't already. Please like this video. Subscribe and share this message with others who might need to hear this. And if you're ready to step fully into what God has for you, drop a 777 in the comments below to declare your alignment with this divine timing. And now, as we move forward, understand this truth. You were never meant to break. Not in the way you feared. You were meant to rise, to bend, to endure, and to grow in ways you could never have imagined. God saw you, and He knew you could handle what was coming, even when you thought you couldn't. Now, chosen one, I want you to take a moment and reflect. Do you remember those times when the weight of the world felt unbearable? Those nights when you lay in bed staring at the ceiling, not sure how much longer you could keep pushing forward? Those seasons when it felt like everything was crumbling and no one could truly understand the internal battles you were fighting? It wasn't just a test of your strength, it was a test of your endurance. There were moments when you felt like you couldn't take another step. Moments when the pressure seemed like it would finally crush you, but you're still here. You made it through, and here's the truth: that pressure was not meant to break you. It was never meant to destroy you. No, chosen one, that pressure was sent to reveal you. It was allowed to shape you, to refine you in ways you might not fully understand right now. Because when God places something mighty inside a person, the journey is never easy. The challenges come not because you are weak, but because you are destined for something greater than what you can currently imagine. And that something great requires you to rise above the ordinary, to be forged in the fire, and to come out on the other side more powerful than ever before. What you've endured, what you've survived, it has been a part of the divine blueprint. When others would have fallen, you stood. When others would have given up, You kept going. That is no small thing. That is evidence of the divine strength that resides within you. And even though you may not feel it now that strength is growing in ways you can't yet see, God has been preparing you for what's to come, and everything you've endured has been laying the foundation for something far greater than you ever thought possible. But let's be honest for a moment. It wasn't always easy to see it this way, was it? There were days when the pressure felt relentless, when you questioned whether this path was even worth walking. Maybe you thought you were being punished, that life was somehow against you. And I get it. It's hard when the weight seems too heavy, when the seasons of delay feel endless, and when the challenges are coming from all directions. But here's the truth. Chosen one resistance is not rejection. The enemy wants you to believe that the obstacles you face are signs that you've been abandoned, that you're being punished for something you did or didn't do. But in the spiritual realm, resistance is often a sign of confirmation. It means you are on the right path. It means you are a threat to darkness. It means you are carrying something of immense value, and the enemy is trying to stop you from realizing your full potential. Think about it for a second. If you were insignificant, if your purpose was small, would you have encountered the level of resistance you've faced? Would your battles have been so fierce? No. The pressure you've felt has been proportional to the greatness of your calling. You've endured this because you have been chosen to carry something far beyond what you can currently see. And in the midst of all of this, you didn't break. You bent, yes, you cried, you questioned, but you did not lose yourself. That is what matters. That is what God is honoring. You see, chosen one breaking would have been loud. It would have been an emotional explosion, a cry for validation, a plea for understanding. It would have been easy to react in anger, to lash out, to seek revenge, or to throw in the towel and walk away. But you didn't. Instead, you chose something different. You chose stillness. You chose patience. You chose trust. You chose alignment even when everything around you was chaotic. And let me tell you something, that quiet endurance speaks volumes in the spiritual realm. It's in those moments of restraint when you could have reacted but chose to trust that heaven was watching you most closely. I know you've wondered why your journey has been so different from others, why things seem harder, more delayed, more misunderstood. It's because your calling is not like everyone else's. You are being prepared for a higher purpose, and that process requires refinement. It requires you to go through seasons that others might never experience. But that's because God is refining you for what's coming next. God doesn't expect perfection from you, chosen one. He never has. What He seeks is sincerity. What He desires is humility. What He longs for is obedience even when it hurts. Even when you don't understand it. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart. You've given Him that. You've chosen faith even when you didn't feel strong. You've kept your heart soft even when the world tried to harden it. And that, my friend, is a victory. There were days when you felt ashamed for being tired. You wondered if you were failing because you didn't feel strong, because you didn't feel like you had it all together. But here's the truth, that feeling of weakness is not failure. It's growth. Strength is not about never feeling pain. It's about continuing to choose faith even in the midst of that pain. Strength is choosing to get up every morning even when you don't feel like it. Strength is choosing to pray even when your words feel weak and empty. Strength is trusting God even when it seems like your prayers are unanswered. And that's what you've done. You've chosen faith when it wasn't easy. You've chosen to keep going when others would have quit. You've chosen alignment over survival. And that is exactly what God was looking for. The enemy expected you to compromise. He expected you to lash out. He expected you to abandon your values to protect your ego. But you didn't. Instead, you stepped back. You learned the power of discernment. You learned that not everyone who smiles has good intentions. You learned that not every closed door is rejection, it's often divine protection. And in the midst of the chaos, you began to shift. Your responses changed. Your need for validation faded. You stopped chasing explanations and started trusting God's silence more than people's noise. And that is where your spiritual maturity began to form. That's when God began to trust you with more, not the kind of blessings that can be posted on social media, but the kind of wisdom that can be lived with. Not the kind of attention that fades away, but the kind of authority that stands firm even in the face of opposition. Authority is not given to those who break easily. It's given to those who endure, those who stand firm, those who trust even when the world feels uncertain. And that chosen one is exactly what God has been building in you. You might not see it fully now, but you are being prepared to walk into a level of authority that few will ever know. The pressure you've faced, the battles you've won in silence have made you ready for what's next. And so I want you to stop for a moment and realize something important. You didn't fail. You've been growing. You've been maturing. And even though the world may not have noticed, heaven has been watching you all along. Your endurance, your growth, your willingness to stay aligned with God's purpose, it's all been preparing you for the next season. I know you may still be in the thick of it. Chosen one, but don't lose sight of what's coming. You are not just surviving, you are transforming. And that transformation, though it may have felt slow and silent, is evident to heaven. You are exactly where you need to be. And as you continue on this path, just know that you are being prepared for something far greater than you can imagine. Now that we've established the power of your endurance, I want to delve deeper into the spiritual significance of everything you've faced. Many times the pain, the delays, and the resistance felt like punishment, right? You may have even asked yourself, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? But I want you to understand something powerful. It's never been about punishment. It's always been about purpose. The challenges you've experienced weren't meant to break you. They were meant to refine you. I know it hasn't always felt like that, especially when everything seemed to go wrong at the same time, when the doors you prayed for remained shut, and when every attempt to move forward was met with resistance. But here's the truth. God allowed these things because He was preparing you for something greater. You see, when God calls you, He doesn't just send you on an easy journey. No, He allows you to walk through the fire, to strengthen you, to purify you, and to shape you into the person you need to be in order to carry the responsibility of your calling. And let me be clear, this pressure, this struggle, it's a sign that you are destined for something far greater than you can even comprehend right now. It's easy to assume that when life gets difficult, it's a sign of rejection or failure. Many people make the mistake of thinking that if things aren't going smoothly, it's because God is upset with them, or perhaps they've missed the mark somewhere. But I want you to hear this. Resistance is not always rejection. Sometimes it's actually confirmation. You see, when God places something precious inside of you, the world, spiritually speaking, responds differently. The enemy knows what you carry, and he knows the divine purpose that has been placed on your life. So he does everything he can to slow you down, to trip you up, and to make you doubt your calling. He tries to get you to believe that you're not worthy, that your journey isn't worth it, or that it's taking too long. But here's the secret. The enemy doesn't want you to understand. The more resistance you face, the more it confirms the power you carry. Think about it. If you were insignificant, if your purpose were small, would the world's resistance be so great? Would the challenges you've faced have been so intense? No. Resistance only comes when there is something of value to protect. The pressure you've felt has been proportional to the greatness of your calling. What you've been through has been preparing you for something much bigger than yourself. You may be asking, but why does it have to be so hard? The answer is simple, because you are being prepared to carry something weighty. You're not being broken. You're being strengthened, refined, and shaped into the vessel God needs you to be. The weight you've been carrying is part of the process. It's part of making you stronger and more capable of walking into the calling God has placed on your life. And while it may not make sense right now, you are exactly where God wants you to be. Every step, every challenge, every moment of weakness has been used to prepare you for what's coming next. So instead of questioning why things have been so difficult, I want you to shift your perspective. Start seeing the struggle for what it truly is: preparation. It is not a sign of failure. It is confirmation that you are on the right path. I know you've had moments when you felt like you were alone in this, that no one else could understand the pressure you were under. I know you felt like giving up, like you were at your breaking point. But let me remind you of something important. The fact that you didn't break is a testament to your strength. You've come so far, and God has been with you every step of the way. In fact, God has been with you in the quiet moments when no one was watching, when you felt like no one cared. It was in those moments that you proved to God and to yourself that you were stronger than the enemy thought. The enemy expected you to break, to lash out, to abandon your values, to lose faith. He expected you to crumble under the weight of the pressure. But you didn't. You stayed. You stayed aligned with God's purpose even when it wasn't easy. And let me tell you, chosen one, that matters more than you know. There's a reason why God allows you to go through these difficult seasons. He is not punishing you. He is building something in you. He is fortifying your spirit. He is teaching you patience, endurance, and trust in ways that would never come through an easy path. You see, in the spiritual realm, when you choose to endure, when you choose to trust God even when it's hard, that is what pleases Him. It's not the loud moments of triumph. It's not the moments when everything is going perfectly and the whole world sees your success. No, it's the quiet, unseen moments of obedience when you're under pressure that really matter to God. And it's in these moments that God is shaping your character, your strength, and your faith. This is why the enemy has been attacking you. He sees the potential in you. He sees the great things God has planned for you. He knows that if you continue walking in alignment with God, nothing will be able to stop you. So he tries to distract you, to break you, to make you believe you are not worthy of your calling. But here's the truth: your endurance has already defeated him. Your willingness to trust God even in the silence and the struggle has already shattered the enemy's plans. You may not feel it now, but every single trial you've faced has been refining you. It's been teaching you to rely on God in a way you never could have before. You've been stripped of everything that could have distracted you. You've been removed from environments that were not aligned with your purpose. And now, chosen one, you are being prepared for the next phase of your journey. I want you to take a moment and reflect on all the times you thought you couldn't keep going, yet here you are still standing. Think about the prayers you've prayed, the tears you've shed, and the quiet moments when no one was around to witness your struggle. Those moments matter. They are part of the divine blueprint. God has been watching you, and when heaven sees you endure, heaven smiles. Now I need you to realize this truth. The pressure you've been under, the weight you've carried, it was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal the strength that was already inside of you. God knew you could handle it. That's why He allowed it. And now you are coming out of this season stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next. This is not the end of your story. No, it's just the beginning. The weight you've carried has been preparing you for the greatness ahead. And even though you may not see it fully yet, God is about to open doors for you that you never thought possible. You're entering a new season one where your endurance has prepared you for new levels of responsibility, new levels of influence, and new levels of authority. So, chosen one, don't look at your past struggles as signs of defeat. Look at them as signs of preparation. You've been tested, yes, but you've also been refined. You've been made ready for what God has for you next, and that is something worth celebrating. Now, chosen one, let's go deeper into the power of what you've just endured. When I speak of endurance, I'm not simply talking about surviving a difficult situation. No, I'm talking about the quiet strength that arises when you choose to stay grounded in God's will, even when the storm rages around you, when everything seems to be crumbling and you feel like you're being stretched to your limit, yet somehow you do not break. That, my friend, is the power of divine endurance. In the world we live in, it's easy to measure success by external achievements. We look for outward signs of progress, recognition, and results. But in the spiritual realm, the true measure of growth is often invisible to the world. It's found in those moments when no one is watching, when you're faced with a choice to act out of emotion or to remain still to trust God, when there is no immediate evidence that things will get better. It's those moments when you choose faith over frustration, when you choose peace over chaos, and when you choose to align with God's will, even when everything around you screams to give up. And here's the key. Those moments of stillness, of restraint, of choosing not to react, they are not signs of weakness. They are the clearest indicators of spiritual maturity. You see, in a world that thrives on reaction, on instant gratification, on seeking validation from external sources, your ability to remain calm, steady, and unwavering is a rare and powerful gift. It is a gift that many will never understand, but it's one that God is refining in you. And that is what has been shaping you into the person you are becoming. While the world around you rushes to be seen, to be heard, to make a statement, you have learned the power of silence. Not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of strength. The enemy wanted you to lash out, to defend yourself, to react emotionally, to lose your peace. He wanted you to crumble under the pressure, to show the world your frustration, your pain. But you didn't. Instead, you chose stillness. You chose to withdraw emotionally from the situation, to reflect, to pray, and to allow God to guide your response. This is where true strength lies. It's in those moments when you choose to hold your peace instead of giving in to the urge to fight back. When you choose to forgive instead of harboring bitterness. When you choose to let go of your need to control and instead trust God to handle the situation. And I want you to understand this. This choice to remain still is not passive. It's not inaction. It's not indifference. It's active faith. Think about it. In the natural world, when you bend a tree branch too far, it can break. But if you allow it to bend just enough to absorb the pressure, it becomes more resilient. It's the same with you. Your ability to bend under pressure, to remain flexible and adaptable without breaking, has given you the strength to endure and grow. You have learned to bend without snapping, and that is not something everyone can do. You didn't break. You bent, you adjusted, and you learned. You learned how to wait on God's timing even when it felt like nothing was moving. You learned how to trust in God's silence even when the world was loud with expectations. And through it all, you remained steady. That steadiness is what sets you apart, chosen one. It's what makes you different from the rest. You see, when you choose restraint in moments of pressure, when you choose to keep your peace instead of fighting every battle, you are positioning yourself for something greater. It's like gold being refined in the fire. The heat and pressure don't destroy the gold. They purify it, remove the impurities, and make it shine even brighter. And that is what you are becoming, refined, purified, and ready to step into the fullness of your divine calling. The enemy thought he could wear you down. He thought he could push you to the point of breaking, but instead, he unknowingly led you into a season of growth. He didn't know that every attack, every moment of pressure was only sharpening you, making you stronger, and aligning you more closely with God's purpose for your life. What he thought would break you has only made you more resilient, more steadfast, and more in tune with God's timing. I want you to think about this. You could have reacted differently. You could have defended yourself. You could have argued, explained, or even retaliated. But you didn't. Instead, you chose to trust God's process. You chose to wait for him to reveal the next step. And now you are emerging from this season more refined, more patient, and more aligned with your divine calling than ever before. And let me tell you something powerful. That quiet endurance when you didn't seek the spotlight, when you didn't need to be validated by others, is exactly what God is honoring. It's not about the loud moments of success that everyone can see. It's about the quiet moments of obedience that no one notices but God. It's in those moments that God shapes your heart, molds your spirit, and prepares you for what's coming next. You see, the enemy thrives on emotional noise. He thrives on chaos, on reactions, on drama. He wants you to get caught up in the noise of the world so that you lose your focus. But when you choose silence, when you choose to remain steady, your silence becomes a weapon. It's a weapon that disarms the enemy. It's a weapon that confuses his strategies and takes away his power. When you stop reacting, when you stop giving in to the enemy's attempts to provoke you, you take away his foothold. The enemy thrives on emotional access. He wants to control your reactions, to make you angry, bitter, frustrated, and confused. But when you choose to remain calm, when you choose to align your actions with God's will, you rob him of his ability to control you. And that chosen one is when you step into true spiritual authority. Your silence is not weakness. It is strength. It is the strength to withstand the pressure without losing your composure. It is the strength to endure without retaliating. And it is the strength to trust God's timing even when everything inside you wants to act out of impulse. I want you to understand this: God is watching. He's watching the way you handle disappointment. He's watching how you manage silence. He's watching how you respond when things aren't going your way, when your prayers are unanswered, and when you feel overlooked. And here's the most powerful part: God is pleased with your endurance. He is pleased with your choice to remain faithful, to trust in him, and to continue walking the path he has set before you, even when it's hard. What the enemy didn't see coming was your ability to grow under pressure. What he didn't realize was that your silence was actually your greatest weapon. What he thought would break you actually empowered you. What he meant for harm, God used for your good. And now, as you step forward into the next season, you carry with you the strength, wisdom, and authority that can only come from having endured with grace. God sees your quiet strength, and he is smiling. He knows that you have been tested, and he knows that you have passed the test. You didn't just survive, you thrived. And that is the most powerful testimony of all. Let's take a moment to reflect on something powerful that's been unfolding within you, even if you didn't fully realize it at the time. When you endured in silence, when you chose to trust God and remain aligned despite the pressure, you weren't just holding on. You were growing. That quiet strength you displayed didn't just serve to get you through the tough seasons. It was a sign that something significant was happening within you, something that has prepared you for the next phase of your journey. You may have thought that your strength came only from your willpower or your ability to simply keep going. But what you didn't see was how God was working behind the scenes to strengthen you, to refine you, and to make you ready for what he has in store. You are being prepared not just for the blessings you've been waiting for, but for the responsibilities and authority that will come with them. And that preparation wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Let's break this down for a moment. You have been in a process of spiritual growth that goes far beyond surface-level changes. This kind of growth isn't visible at first, and it certainly isn't instant. It's slow, steady, and it often happens in the unseen, in the quiet moments when no one is around to notice. But make no mistake, this process has been shaping you, refining you, and making you into the person God needs you to be. And let me tell you something very important. Spiritual maturity is not about never feeling pain. It's about choosing to remain faithful even when you are in pain. It's about trusting God's plan even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Spiritual maturity is about learning to navigate life's challenges with a heart that remains soft instead of hardening in bitterness or fear. There were moments in the past when you might have been tempted to shut down emotionally, to close yourself off to others, or to lose your faith. But you didn't. You may not have seen it at the time, but by choosing to stay soft, by choosing to stay connected to God's heart, you were growing in ways you could not have imagined. And now, chosen one, that growth is becoming evident. I want you to understand something clearly. God does not lead you through these seasons just to test you. He leads you through them to prepare you for a greater purpose. The pressure you felt wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to expose the strength that was already within you. It was meant to develop a level of resilience, patience, and faith that only comes through enduring hard times with integrity and trust in God. Now let me address something that many of us struggle with during these testing times: comparison. I know it's easy to look around at others and think, why is their journey so much easier? Why are they succeeding while I'm still struggling? The enemy wants you to compare yourself to others because he knows that it will create doubt and frustration within you. He wants you to believe that you are behind, that your struggles are a sign that God has forgotten you. But here's the truth. Your journey is not like anyone else's. Your path has been uniquely designed by God for your specific calling. your struggles, your setbacks, and your moments of silence are all part of the divine preparation for something greater. God has been using every challenge to prepare you for what is to come, not to punish you, not to delay you, but to equip you for the next season. In fact, the moments when it felt like nothing was happening were actually some of the most pivotal. During those times when you felt unseen, overlooked, or stuck, God was at work behind the scenes. While you thought you were losing time, He was actually positioning you for a breakthrough. He was removing distractions, stripping away the things that were not aligned with your divine purpose, and preparing you to carry the weight of the responsibilities He is about to entrust to you. Seasons of waiting, seasons of quiet, and seasons of unseen growth are never wasted. When you look back, you will see that what felt like stagnation was actually God's protection. He was guarding you from things that were not meant for you. He was keeping you as a place where He could continue to shape you, where He could continue to strengthen your character, your discernment, and your faith. Let's talk about one of the most profound lessons you've been learning during this time of pressure discernment. The struggles you've faced, the people you've encountered, and the doors that seem to close all contributed to a deeper understanding of what God wants for your life. You've learned to trust your instincts more, to listen to the still small voice of God in a way you hadn't before. The noise of the world, the pressure of external expectations, and the confusion of emotions have all become less powerful because you have learned to tune into God's guidance. This is not just about knowing what's good for you anymore, it's about knowing what's right for you. It's about knowing which relationships are worth investing in, which opportunities align with your divine purpose, and which doors to walk through and which ones to walk away from. God has been teaching you to recognize His voice and trust His timing even when it doesn't look the way you expected it to. And I want you to know that this newfound discernment, this ability to recognize God's guidance, is incredibly valuable. Because as you move forward, there will be moments when you will have to make decisions that require deep clarity and wisdom. You won't always have the luxury of knowing everything, of seeing the full picture right away. But what you will have is a deep trust in God's leading and a strengthened ability to discern His will in any given situation. You are stepping into a season of greater authority. You are stepping into a season where you will carry more weight, more responsibility, and more influence. But this authority is not the kind that comes from recognition or status. No, this authority comes from knowing who you are in God, from having walked through the fire and come out refined, from having endured when others would have broken. This authority is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need validation. It simply stands firm in the truth of who God has made you to be. And when you step into this authority, you will do so with a peace that transcends understanding, a clarity that defies the chaos, and a confidence that comes not from your own strength, but from God's power working in you. You see, what you've learned in the quiet, unseen moments is the foundation for everything that's coming next. You have learned to rely on God, to trust Him, even when it doesn't make sense. You've learned how to wait, how to listen, and how to move with patience. These are not skills that the world teaches. They are skills that only come through walking closely with God through difficult seasons. And now, because you've learned them, you are more prepared for the next phase of your journey. The enemy may have thought he could distract you, discourage you, or cause you to lose focus, but he didn't realize that every step you've taken has been moving you closer to your divine purpose. Every struggle, every challenge, every moment of silence has been building the foundation for the incredible things that are about to unfold in your life. God has seen your faithfulness, He has seen your perseverance, and now He is ready to move you into a new season of clarity, purpose, and power. You are stepping into your divine authority. You are stepping into the life that God has prepared for you. The waiting is over, the preparation is complete. And now it's time for you to rise, to walk boldly, and to carry what God has entrusted to you. You may not see it yet, but everything you've endured has been leading to this moment. And now that you've been refined, now that you've been prepared, you are ready for the next phase. The season of quiet growth is over, and now the season of stepping into your calling is beginning. Trust God's timing. Trust His process, and above all, trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Now, chosen one, let's take a moment to understand the magnitude of what's unfolding in your life. All that pressure you've experienced, all that resistance you've faced, wasn't just random. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't to make you feel worthless or abandoned. No, what you've endured has been preparing you for a higher purpose, a purpose that many people never get to experience because they can't bear the weight of what it takes to get there. I want you to understand this deeply. What God has been doing in your life is not about your comfort. It's about your transformation. The comfort zone that so many seek, where life is easy, where everything falls into place without resistance, that's not the path for a chosen one. Your path, chosen one, has been one of endurance, refinement, and divine preparation. The trials you've faced weren't sent to break you. They were sent to shape you into someone who can carry a greater weight of responsibility, wisdom, and authority. God has been testing your heart, your faith, your motives, and your obedience. The enemy has been studying you, watching for moments of weakness, expecting you to break or lash out, but you've surprised him. Instead of breaking, you've bent. You've flexed with the pressures of life without losing your core. You've allowed God to shape you even when it felt like everything was falling apart. And here's where the shift happens. You might not fully realize it yet, but you have entered a new level of spiritual maturity. This maturity isn't about being perfect or never having doubts. It's about being able to stand firm, grounded in who God has made you to be without being swayed by external circumstances, opinions, or emotional turbulence. It's the ability to endure not just physical pain, but the emotional and spiritual struggles that come when you are walking in alignment with God's will. Let me remind you, the pressure you've been under was not meant to harm you. God never sends pressure to destroy. He allows it to refine. Think about gold. When it's first dug out of the earth, it's rough, impure, and unshaped. But when it's placed in the fire, it melts down, the impurities rise to the surface, and then it's removed. Only then does the gold become pure, strong, and valuable. That is what God has been doing with you, purifying your spirit, refining your heart, and making you stronger than ever. And the fire doesn't burn you out. It refines you. In these refining seasons, you might have felt that God was distant or that He didn't see your struggles, but that couldn't be further from the truth. God has been watching you every step of the way. He has seen every tear, every moment of doubt, every time you felt lost and alone. But He has also seen your faithfulness. He has seen the times when you chose to rise above your circumstances, when you chose to believe in His promises, even when your feelings tried to tell you otherwise. The beauty of endurance is that it teaches you to move forward without needing to understand every detail of your journey. God doesn't always explain why things happen the way they do, and that can be frustrating. But what God is doing is building trust. Trust that He sees the bigger picture. Trust that His timing is perfect. Trust that He is working behind the scenes even when you can't see the results right away. The truth is, you've been learning to trust God in ways that others haven't had to. You've been learning to trust His silence when He didn't give you answers. You've been learning to trust Him in the quiet seasons when things weren't moving, when prayers felt unanswered, when doors seemed to stay shut. And that trust is a powerful thing. It's the kind of trust that doesn't waver when life doesn't go according to your plan. It's the kind of trust that remains steady when circumstances are turbulent. That's the trust God is cultivating in you, but it's not just about trust, it's about authority. Let me explain. You've heard people talk about authority before, but I want you to understand something critical about the spiritual kind of authority God is preparing you for. True authority doesn't come from loud displays or trying to prove something. It comes from the quiet, unseen moments when you've chosen obedience over explanation, when you've chosen humility over pride, when you've chosen patience over impulse. God sees that kind of authority. He sees it in your quiet obedience. He sees it in your ability to stand firm when everything inside you says to give up. The authority you are stepping into is the kind that doesn't need to make noise to be heard. It's the kind that simply stands firm in truth, trusting that God will make a way, trusting that His will be done, and trusting that in His time the doors that need to open will open. So, chosen one, I want you to realize that what you've been through hasn't been in vain. It hasn't been wasted. Every challenge, every trial, every moment of weakness has been a divine appointment. God has been shaping you into someone who can withstand the storms of life and come out the other side even stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's ahead. And here's the most incredible part of this process: God has been hiding you in plain sight. You may have felt invisible during these seasons of quiet, when it seemed like no one noticed the sacrifices you made or the pain you endured. But God has been working behind the scenes, protecting you, developing you, and preparing you for a time when He will unveil His purpose for your life in ways you've never imagined. When God hides you, it's not because you're not valuable. It's because He's protecting you from things that could harm you. He's protecting you from premature exposure, from opportunities that you aren't ready for yet, from people who wouldn't understand your calling. God hides His chosen ones until they are fully ready to step into the fullness of their purpose. And now, chosen one, the time is coming for you to step into that purpose. You've been prepared, you've been tested, you've been refined, and now God is going to use you in ways you never thought possible. The weight you've carried, the trials you've endured, the battles you fought quietly, they were all a part of making you into the person who is ready to carry the mantle God is about to place on your life. But don't rush it. Don't try to force it. Stay in alignment with God's timing. There's no need to rush or push for something that isn't ready. Trust that God's timing is perfect, and when the right moment comes, the doors will open. The opportunities will appear, and you will walk into your divine purpose, not because you fought to make it happen, but because you trusted God's process. You might be wondering when all of this will come to pass, when you'll see the fruit of your labor. And the answer is simple. It's already happening. Even when you can't see it, God is working. Even when you feel like nothing is moving, God is preparing things behind the scenes. Every prayer, every act of obedience, every moment of endurance is adding to the divine plan that is unfolding in your life. So I want you to hear this clearly. Chosen one, you are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where God wants you to be. And every single moment of your journey, no matter how difficult, no matter how unseen, has been preparing you for what's next. Stay faithful, stay grounded, stay aligned. The season of quiet preparation is over, and the time to step into your purpose is drawing near. Trust that when the time is right, you will rise not because of anything you've done, but because God has equipped you, refined you, and prepared you for such a time as this. Chosen one, I want to guide you into a deeper understanding of what's happening in your spirit right now. You've been through a lot, and I know at times you felt lost or unsure of where God was leading you. But let me reassure you, every season of hardship, every moment of silence, and every time you felt disconnected was not for nothing. God was not absent. He was not punishing you. He was preparing you. Now I want you to focus on something important, the shift that is happening within you. I know that the external world may not seem like it's shifting yet, but inside you, something is changing. You are no longer the person you once were. You've been through a process, and that process has refined you. You've been equipped with wisdom, endurance, and a greater trust in God. And that is not something that happens overnight. It takes time. It takes moments of quiet reflection. It takes surrender. I want you to understand something powerful. Your waiting has not been passive. It has been a time of preparation, even when it felt like nothing was happening. Every time you felt like nothing was changing, you were being shaped into someone capable of handling the responsibility that God is preparing to place on your life. I know it's hard to see when you're in the middle of the process, but trust me, you have been evolving. You have been moving through the stages of spiritual growth and maturity that most people never get to experience. The world tells us that success happens quickly. It promises us instant gratification. But God doesn't work like that. God's way is different. He is building something in you that will last. And that takes time. It takes patience. It requires deep roots in Him. That's why He allowed you to go through the waiting seasons, because He's been planting you firmly in the soil of His Word and His Spirit, preparing you to bear fruit in His time. Think about a tree for a moment. A tree doesn't grow overnight. It starts as a seed hidden in the ground, far from anyone's sight. It faces challenges, droughts, storms, and harsh seasons. But with time, it grows roots that anchor it to the earth. Its branches stretch toward the sky, and eventually it bears fruit. But none of that happens quickly. The tree has to endure many seasons before it can produce something of value. And just like that tree, God has been growing you beneath the surface. You've been in a season of growth that others couldn't see. They couldn't see the struggles, the tears, or the quiet moments when you chose faith over fear. They couldn't see the inner transformation that was taking place. But God saw. He saw the moments when you trusted Him in the silence. He saw your heart when you felt discouraged but chose to get back up. He saw every time you pressed forward, even when you didn't feel like you had the strength to continue. And that is what has been preparing you for the next phase of your journey. The maturity you've gained, the wisdom you've acquired, and the trust you've built in God will serve you in ways you may not fully comprehend yet. The things you've learned in the waiting season will guide you into your next chapter. When you step into the new opportunities and responsibilities that are ahead, you will do so with a deep, grounded sense of clarity and authority. And that is because of everything you've endured. Now let's talk about the next stage of your growth. As you step into the authority God is calling you to, it's important to remember this truth. True authority comes from humility. It comes from having walked through the fire and come out stronger, not because you fought the battles alone, but because you trusted God through them. Authority doesn't come from control. It comes from surrender. The kind of authority that God wants to place on your life is one that flows from a heart of humility and service, not from a desire to prove something or gain recognition. When you were going through the fire, it wasn't just about surviving. It was about learning to trust that God was using every challenge to make you stronger. The authority God is preparing you for is not the kind that seeks to control others or force outcomes. It is the authority that comes from aligning with God's will, walking in His timing, and trusting that He is in control even when things feel uncertain. That kind of authority is rare. It's not built on pride or ego. It's not built on how much you can accomplish or how many people you can impress. It is built on obedience. It is built on knowing who you are in Christ and understanding that the battles you fight are not yours alone. God is with you, and He has given you the strength to endure. This authority is powerful not because it commands attention, but because it commands respect. You see, when you choose to remain obedient, to trust in God's timing, and to let go of the need for immediate answers or external validation, you're stepping into a different kind of power. You're no longer moved by the whims of others or by the need to prove yourself. Instead, you are moving in divine authority, a quiet, firm confidence that comes from walking in the fullness of God's purpose for your life. And let me tell you this, that kind of authority can't be shaken. You've been through the storm. You've been through the seasons of struggle and doubt. You've chosen to remain aligned with God when everything around you tried to pull you off course. And now, God is preparing you for the season of elevation. The struggles you faced were never meant to break you. They were meant to refine you, to build the spiritual muscles that are necessary for what's coming next. But here's where I need you to be cautious. Chosen one, when God elevates you, it doesn't mean things will suddenly get easier. You will face new challenges. You will encounter resistance. But the difference is this. You are now equipped to handle them. You have grown in ways that most people will never understand. Your endurance, your patience, and your humility have prepared you for what is ahead. Now, more than ever, you must hold on to what you've learned. You must continue to trust God, to listen to His voice, and to move forward in obedience. The next phase of your journey will require even greater discernment, greater patience, and greater faith. The enemy will try to distract you, to throw new obstacles in your way, but you are stronger now. You have the wisdom and the authority to face these new challenges with the same quiet strength you've built over the years. I know there may be moments when doubt tries to creep in, when you question if you're truly ready for what's coming. But hear me now. You are ready. You may not feel it, and you may not understand it all, but everything you've been through has prepared you for this moment. You have the endurance, the wisdom, and the heart of a servant leader. You have been refined, and now you are being called to step into the fullness of your divine purpose. So as you move forward, stay grounded in humility. Continue to trust in God's timing, and remember that the authority you carry isn't about control or power. It's about surrendering to God's will and trusting that He will direct your steps. Keep your heart soft, keep your spirit aligned, and keep your focus on His purpose for your life. The enemy may try to derail you, but you now have the spiritual authority to stand firm and remain aligned with God's will. This is just the beginning. Chosen one. The road ahead will be filled with challenges, but with everything you've learned, you are more than equipped to walk through them with confidence and grace. Trust in the process, and know that you are being led to a place of purpose, power, and fulfillment that is beyond your wildest dreams. Chosen one. Let's take a moment to talk about the transition you are about to undergo. You've been through a deep and often painful season of growth, but now you're stepping into a new era of your life, one that's marked by clarity, authority, and alignment. This transition won't necessarily be abrupt, but it will be profound. You will begin to see the fruit of everything you've been through, and let me tell you, the shift that's coming in your life is not just a simple change, it's a new beginning. When we're in the midst of a transition, it can sometimes feel like we're walking in uncharted territory. And it's natural to feel uncertainty, to question whether we are truly ready for what's coming next. But here's what I want you to know. You have been prepared for this moment. You may not see it all yet, but every challenge, every season of silence, and every moment of hardship has been leading you to this point. You've been learning, growing, and strengthening your spirit, and now the time has come for you to rise and walk into the fullness of your calling. This moment is not just a continuation of your journey, it is a divine alignment with the purpose God has set before you. You are stepping into what you were always meant for. Every delay, every obstacle, every moment of waiting was not to hold you back, but to position you for what's ahead. And the best part is, you are more ready than you realize. Now let's talk about clarity. Something you've been longing for. You've been in a season of waiting, of not knowing fully what the next step would be. There were moments of uncertainty, moments when you didn't understand why things were happening the way they were. But I want you to understand that God was using those seasons of waiting to clear the fog from your vision. He was refining your ability to discern His voice, His timing, and His will for your life. Clarity doesn't come all at once. It comes gradually, piece by piece, step by step. But now, as you enter this new season, you will begin to see things more clearly. Things that once seemed confusing will start to make sense. You will begin to understand why certain things had to happen the way they did. Your perspective will shift, and you will realize that God was working in every detail, even when you couldn't see it. And this clarity doesn't just apply to your understanding of the past, it also applies to your future. As you step into this new season, your path will become clearer. The doors that were once closed will begin to open, and you will know exactly which ones to walk through. You will be able to discern the right opportunities, the right relationships, and the right decisions. No longer will you be wandering in uncertainty. You will walk with purpose, knowing that each step is guided by God's hand. But with clarity also comes responsibility. The authority you are stepping into is not just about recognition or status. It's about responsibility. You are being entrusted with something precious, your calling, your mission, and your influence. And this responsibility requires a deep sense of humility and discernment. It requires you to remain grounded in God's word, to continue trusting Him even when the path ahead isn't always clear, and to make decisions that reflect His will. I want you to think about something for a moment. Authority and influence are built on trust. The reason God has entrusted you with more is because He has seen your faithfulness, your endurance, and your ability to stand firm when everything else seemed to crumble. But now, as you move forward, God is calling you to use that authority wisely. It's not about controlling people or situations. It's about using your influence to bring people closer to God, to guide them with wisdom, and to lead with love and humility. You see, leadership in the kingdom of God is not about domination or control. It's about service. It's about using your position to lift others up, to encourage them, and to help them discover the purpose that God has for their lives. And this is the kind of authority you are walking into, the kind that is grounded in service, humility, and a deep love for God and for others. Now let's talk about stability. As you move into this next season, there will be challenges, yes. But one thing that will be different is your ability to remain stable in the face of them. You have learned to stand firm in God's promises, and that stability will carry you through the storm. No longer will you be tossed around by the waves of doubt, fear, or confusion. You have been rooted and grounded in God's truth, and that is what will keep you steady. This stability is not a result of your own strength, it's a result of your reliance on God. You've learned to trust Him, to lean on Him, and to rest in His peace. And now, because of that trust, you are more stable than you've ever been before. You are no longer shaken by the things that once caused you to stumble. You can move through life with a sense of peace and assurance, knowing that God is with you every step of the way. But stability also means surrender. It means surrendering your need for control and trusting that God is guiding you in the right direction. It means letting go of your own plans and allowing God to direct your steps. This doesn't mean you won't face difficulties. It means that in the midst of them, you can rest assured that God is in control and His plan is always better than your own. So let me remind you, chosen one, you have already been through the hardest parts of the journey. The trials, the doubts, the moments of struggle, those were all part of the process that has prepared you for this moment. You have been refined, strengthened, and equipped for what's ahead. And as you step into this new season, you will begin to experience the fullness of what God has for you. But remember this, even in the midst of all the blessings, the growth, and the new opportunities, stay humble. The authority you now carry is not yours to wield for your own glory. It is a gift from God, one that comes with great responsibility. And the best way to use it is to remain humble, to continue seeking God's guidance, and to serve others with the same love and grace that God has shown you. In this new season, I want you to continue leaning on the lessons you've learned. Trust in the process. Trust that God has brought you this far for a reason. And when you face challenges in the future, remember that you have everything you need to overcome them. You are not the same person you were before. You are stronger, wiser, and more aligned with God's purpose for your life. One more thing, don't be afraid to rest. You've been through a long journey, and now is the time to begin stepping into the fullness of your calling. But even as you step forward, remember that it's okay to rest, to take breaks, and to seek God's peace. In the kingdom of God, rest is not laziness, it is trust. It is trust that God will continue His work in you and through you, even when you aren't constantly striving. And so, chosen one, as you step into this new season, walk with confidence, walk with clarity, walk with the knowledge that you are exactly where God wants you to be, and He has equipped you for what's ahead. You are not alone. You are walking in the divine authority and purpose that God has set before you. Stay humble, stay grounded, and stay faithful. Chosen one. As you prepare to move forward, I want you to understand something powerful. You are not just stepping into a new season of opportunity, you are stepping into a season of divine confirmation. Everything you have walked through, every trial you have endured, and every moment of silence you've experienced has been leading you to this point. What is coming next is not by accident, it is by divine appointment. Now I know there are times when it may still feel like things are uncertain, that the path ahead isn't fully clear. It's easy to fall into doubt, to look at the circumstances around you and wonder if you are truly on the right path. But hear me clearly. Chosen one, God is aligning everything perfectly for your future, even when it doesn't look like it. The seasons of waiting, of being overlooked, of feeling unseen, those moments were God's way of refining you, of protecting you, and of preparing you for what you are about to step into. What you may have considered delays were actually periods of divine protection. You see, not every opportunity is meant for you, and not every person is meant to walk with you into your next season. God used those moments of quiet to separate you from what wasn't meant to accompany you. He allowed certain doors to stay closed, to keep you from stepping into things that would have distracted or hindered your growth. You are exactly where God wants you, and everything that's happened so far has been part of His perfect timing. You might be asking yourself, what does the future hold for me? What's coming next? And while I can't give you all the specifics, I can tell you this: what's coming next will far surpass anything you've imagined. The breakthroughs, the new opportunities, the people who will come into your life, the doors that will open, these things are coming because you've shown yourself faithful. You've endured the tests. You've chosen trust over doubt. You've remained aligned with God's purpose even when everything seemed uncertain. This is your moment, chosen one. The moment when everything begins to fall into place. God has been setting the stage for your elevation. You've been prepared through your trials, through your moments of struggle, and through your quiet obedience. Now the time has come for you to step into what you've been waiting for, and when that moment comes, I want you to step forward with boldness, with confidence, and with the assurance that God is right there with you, leading you every step of the way. But let me give you one final reminder. Don't rush this season. It's easy to feel the urge to jump ahead, to want things to move faster, but I urge you to wait for the right timing. Trust that when God opens the door, it will be the perfect time. You've been waiting for this moment, and God has been preparing you for it. So don't feel the need to force anything or try to speed up the process. Rest in the assurance that God's timing is perfect. You've already come so far. And though it may seem like there is still much ahead of you, trust me when I say that everything you need for this next chapter is already within you. God has equipped you, He has refined you, and He has molded you into the person you need to be to carry the weight of what's coming next. You are ready. As you step into this next phase of your life, remember who you are. Remember the strength you've gained, the wisdom you've accumulated, and the trust you've built in God. You've been prepared for this moment. You've been chosen for this purpose, and now it's time for you to walk confidently into the future that God has planned for you. Trust the process, trust God's timing, and trust that everything is unfolding according to His perfect will. This is your time. This is your season. Wish Holy Spirits with you, chosen ones.